Yeah, it was good. I haven't seen my dad in a while, so it's good.
Oh,
It's good
I
to
was
see him.
wondering, I hadn't heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
That one's
is that you?
Yes.
Hi.
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 Hello, Ian. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. You can only just pull your desk outside and sit outside. Well, it might be a little too hot today. The few times I
I'm not here to tell you about today.
Okay, this is the April 12th, 2023 meeting of the Village of Millbrook Board of Trustees. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Sir, do a roll call of trustees.
Yes, sir. Mayor Calpe?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Contino?
Here.
Trustee Herzog?
Here.
Trustee Doro?
Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Okay, thank you. A couple changes to the agenda. I do want to add an executive session at the end to talk about a potential new hire to the police force. I sent you an email about that, if that's any concerns. I think that's worthy of an executive session, so we'll do that at the end. So Sarah, don't let us leave without doing that.
Okay.
I get answer towards the end. We do have an update from Dutchess County regarding the plan to replace the bridge. We'll get to that soon. I invited the president of the school board to come talk to us about bus traffic on Alden. However, he called this morning with a very raspy voice and said he's got the flu and can't make it. And so we'll have that discussion next month. Although I still want to introduce the resolution to update the code, chapter 220. We also want to do the public hearing and vote on the budget. They're kind of the big things we've got going on for this meeting. All right, so a lot to discuss. So let's move ahead. First off, the vouchers. I've sent down the pipe here the detailed voucher summaries for you to look at and review and approve. The total is $201,231 for this month. Any questions about the vouchers? It's higher than usual. It's because we got a couple of bills that came in. The fire department moved in the spending the money for the replacement of the windows. Thanks for doing that, Matt. Good job. We also got a big bill for the salt usage from the town, about $20,000, $25,000. And so the general fund expenditures usually runs about $90,000 a month on the average. So you see it's high numbers typically. But the total is $201,000. So can I get a motion to accept the vouchers? And a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, so Matt, come on up. So this is Matt Dukovich from Dutchess County. Just introduce yourself, and he's going to tell us about your planned replacement of the bridge that goes over the waterfall.
Yeah, so, like Tim said,
Sorry, you turn, there you go. Thanks.
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry.
Good job, Karen.
I'm not in the way. Everybody hear me in the back? All right. I'm Matt Cavish. I'm the Director of Engineering for the Dutchess County DPW. Here to give you 8 slides, maybe 10 minutes on a bridge. Pretty sure you know where this is, by the wastewater plant, by the waterfall, by Deneen Road. It's going to be a very high-level look at what we're doing. We're going to start with why we're doing it. So it's about 100 years old. It was built in 1929. Beams are starting to get thin. The substructure is starting to show signs of failure. On the right-hand side, that's the old stone wall that connects to the dam. Just kind of putting that there because we're going to talk about something we're going to do to that in a second.
Okay.
So this is the bird's eye view of what we're doing. So you see dashed lines here and here. That's the face of the existing bridge, and this big rectangle is actually the deck of the new one, right? So it's getting wider. We're going to add 4-foot shoulders, make it a little more pedestrian friendly while we're here. The other thing of note, we're going to take these shoulders, transition them out to the existing road as quickly as we reasonably can. On the other side, cross over in front here. So this is that wall that goes to the dam that we had that picture of. So up here, probably hard to read, it says shotcrete masonry wall. So when I've worked by old walls like this, inevitably they start to fall down, right? It's kind of unavoidable. So the plan is to put a shotcrete face on it, smooth trowel finish, and secure that wall for the long term while we're here. There's going to be a cast in place concrete cap on it to limit water going down, just to, again, stabilize it in the long term. So next to that here, you guys have, I'll call it a fence, right? Some wood posts, maybe some hardware cloth. That's got to come down for our work. The plan is to put back a 42-inch tall vinyl coated chain link. 42 inches, kind of a standard pedestrian safety height. Ultimately, that's your fence, so you tell me what you want, and that's what we'll put back. I don't have a good graphic that shows it, so I'll just note here, this is being built entirely in front of the old substructure, so it's going to be slightly smaller. It'll limit our disturbance and speed up construction as best we can. So the next slide here is going to show what it looks like. So over on the right, that's what it looks like if you're standing in the creek. It's a precast structure, pretty quick to build. It's going to be keyed into bedrock. We're very lucky that we have that. Again, building in front of everything really limits how much disturbance we need. This, again, it's hard to read. This is what the road will look like. 10-foot travel lanes, which is basically what's there now, 4-foot shoulders. We don't plan to stripe it because nothing is striped now. So what you're going to end up with is a 28-foot wide paved deck over the bridge. And this, again, this is 42-inch tall, pedestrian-friendly railing on the bridge. All right.
So there'll be 4-foot walkway space on both sides?
Yeah. So this would be the middle of the road.
Yeah.
This would be 10 foot to your technical travel lane, and then this would be a 4-foot area on the side for pedestrian use.
Okay, good.
Yep. So this is the detour. We're obviously going to have to close this. There was some discussion on this, on what to do. North, so here's the need, right? So this is North Avenue and Harts Village. That's what we're going to use to get people around this. The design team is trying to convince me to use big message boards and send people up Franklin. These detours, in my experience, are not for locals, and people coming from out of the area aren't going to see a sign that says Stanford Road Bridge out and know what it means. They're going to know the GPS says continue for a mile, and we're going to pick them up here anyway. So I decided why fight them. Let's work with what I suspect is going to happen. If you guys have any feedback on this, when we get into the questions and answers, so I'll be more than happy to see what you have to say. So this is the property rates we're going to need from the village. This could probably be a 10-minute presentation in itself. So kind of high level here, there's a bunch of different colors, right? The yellow are temporary rights we need to do the work. The pink on the bottom is a permanent right for long-term access for maintenance. And then there's 3 blue areas, here, up here. Those we're looking to acquire title to because we need to own the footprint of the structure, and that'll give us that area in the long term. We can talk a little bit more about this afterwards, and if you want me to come and talk to you separately or in a workshop setting.
Probably a separate workshop would be good, yeah.
I'd be more than happy to do
Does the
that.
village own all those colored areas?
You own everything.
Okay, fine.
So the northwest, way up here,
Yeah.
that's a private owner.
Oh.
We need rights from them. We've reached out to them. We haven't gotten a response yet. Everything else is with the village.
Okay.
All right. So the schedule. I'm sure everybody wants to know the most. Plans are very far along. We're probably 90% done. Environmental permits have all been submitted. And what we're doing now is we're going to get our final feedback from the environmental agencies, feedback from you guys, brush this all up by the summer. We're starting the right-of-way process now, the property acquisition process. The goal is to get that wrapped up by the fall. When I say fall, I'm talking like November. That would allow us to go to bid November, December, and would typically mean construction would start about this time next year. It's a 4 to 6 month project realistically. My intention is to write the bid to say have it open by Labor Day to minimize impact on busing primarily. I don't know how heavy the school use it. I know my bus used to go that way. Not here is funding. I will note that the legislature approved our bridge and highway bond, which had the funding for this project. So we have all the money. The plans are pretty close to done. We just need our final feedback and touches, and we should be off to the races next year. And then I got one last slide. This has nothing to do with what we're building. It's just one of my favorite places in the office. We have a lot of old pictures of our bridges that go back to the 20s. Somebody documented all this when they were doing a lot of replacements. So I just wanted to point out, the left-hand side is the bridge that was replaced in 1929. So the back side of that photo is what I thought was really interesting. It says last covered bridge in Dutchess County. So the last covered bridge that we took down was this one here. And this is the bridge, obviously, right when it was built. There's some other neat ones that look the other way, and you can see the old elevated railroad structure, running into the village. And I just think these are interesting, so I just wanted to share this with you guys. It's a neat little piece of history. A lot of times I run into these things, there's a historian that wants copies and that stuff. So if there's somebody here that I can scan and send this stuff to, I'd be more than happy to.
All right, good. That's great.
So, and my contact info here, if anybody wants to get a hold of me afterwards.
All right, so trustees, any questions? Well, I'll ask the rest of you guys in a minute. We'll just see the trustees have any.
No major questions. The detour on Harts Village, I think, should be discussed.
Yeah.
Especially truck-wise.
Yeah, because we can't handle truck traffic there.
Absolutely.
Speeding, the heavy traffic.
You don't know that road is.
Now?
It's not the greatest.
Yeah, that's something we need to address, because you're right.
I mean, if the preference is that we try the Franklin route,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
That's the preference.
That's fine. If that's what you guys would prefer, we can make that change.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a curve on Harts Village Road, which is just about impossible for any tractor trailer to maneuver.
Sure.
Right at the top of it, and it's,
Sure.
also there's no way for the truck to back up once it gets caught in that without causing a major tire, so that can't be an alternative.
Okay. Sure. That's fine. We'll make that change.
Anything else from you guys? General comments, questions?
That was my concern.
That's your concern, yeah.
And you mentioned Deneen, I wanted to make sure that was part of the detour plan.
No, Deneen, I mean, the intersection of Deneen, when you get up to the, I guess we kind of northeastern end of that, there's nobody can turn.
That's
turn
very
right
sharp
there.
there,
That's
yeah.
awful, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And my biggest concern, Deneen, I mean, it's basically a driveway, right?
Yeah.
Essentially. And I don't want people getting all the way down there and going up and trying to use that
Neither do the
intersection.
residents,
Yeah, and
Right.
turning around there, and there's a house right on the corner of Deneen and Stanford. I don't
Yeah.
want people turning around in that driveway. So, I mean, I'm still gonna try to cut people off at North Avenue as the last gasp of like, we're serious, don't keep going.
Yeah.
Hopefully they take us seriously.
right.
But that's fine. I can make that change. That's not a big deal.
Anybody else in the audience have a question or a comment? So, going to happen next year, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more details as we progress towards the actual.
And can I get a little, if you have feedback now on that fence replacement, on what you think you may want? Is a 42-inch fence good? You want something taller? If you have a safety concern, black
What you
vinyl,
described is
green
what everyone's
vinyl?
there now, so
Yeah.
definitely step up.
Okay. All right. I'll stay with the 42.
The fence is there for safety, right? We're trying to keep people out of the pond.
Yeah. You got, and there's obviously a fall issue there as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay.
And that concrete pad's going to stay there.
That big concrete
Yeah,
guy that's
yeah.
there, we have to take that out.
Oh, you take that out?
We have to take that out.
What is that thing anyway? That's from prior. What was it? Oh.
Sounds-
All right.
Probably from this. I'm assuming it's from this building here.
Right, portion of it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yep.
Okay, good. Any other questions? Matt, thanks for coming, I appreciate it.
Sure.
If you'd send me the information, I can get that to the Historical Society.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And just let me know when you want me to talk right away.
Yeah, right, we'll figure out when we need to have more detailed discussions.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I want you to get the right of way so you can do the
Yeah.
job it on.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I ran by the minutes approval, so I don't know where the trustees are on this, so Sarah sent out a plethora of minutes going back to February, I think, right?
Yes.
Because we had this situation
And all
where we
the
lost the
budget
minutes. Have you all had a chance to look at them yet or not? All right, well, let's hold it off.
We can post them as draft
Fine, we
on the
should do that.
website, and then you guys just approve next.
Yeah,
meeting.
that is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at them, they were pretty straightforward,
Yeah,
but I'd rather the trustees
That's
get a
fine.
chance to review it first.
no problem.
All right, good. All right, that was interesting. Okay. Ted,
Skipped over Deidre.
or is it?
You skipped Deidre.
You skipped Deidre.
I'm sorry?
Deidre.
Was she here?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, didn't see you show up. Good job.
Hi all, here at House and Dutchess County Legislator. I just want to update you on our meeting from Monday night. We did have a public hearing on the Bennett Park project on the conservation easement through DLC, and no one came up to comment, so we closed the public hearing, and I assume we'll be voting on that at our next meeting to accept the conservation easement on the Bennett Park. We had a local law laid on the desk at our March meeting, and it was to expand the senior tax exemption and the persons with disabilities tax exemption. There was some public input. We pulled it from the agenda after it got to the committee, and we relaid it on the desk this month, and we will debate it next month and hopefully pass it next month. It's very similar to the emergency responder fire tax exemption, and we're looking to expand the income limits so that people who currently it's $24,000 is the max for income, and we're going to try to expand it to $43,000. So to offer people a larger benefit on the county portion of the tax.
And there'll be a exemption for a portion of the county tax.
Correct. It's just the only thing the county does is the county tax.
Right.
Obviously, other towns and villages are acting on it as well. School districts, it's based on this new law that was passed through the state in December.
Okay, is it the same 10% that we're talking about?
No, that was the fire exemption. This is based on income levels, not based on
Oh, the
percentage.
exemption for, okay, fine.
Right, it's based on your income level.
All right,
So there's one for persons with disabilities and one for seniors. So we're looking to discuss that. And coming up on our agenda, we will be looking at the Dutchess Community College budget. We start that phase because their fiscal year goes August. So we'll start presenting their presentation of their budget, and we'll debate their budget. But as the county, we can only vote up or down. We can't make any adjustments to their budget. So that'll be happening in the next few months. That's kind of what's on the horizon.
okay.
Thanks.
Questions for Deirdre? Anybody in the audience, questions for Deirdre? By the way, I'm glad you brought it up. We in the village, after we get the budget closed, I'm also going to bring to you an update to our exemption, or our income limits, because ours are out of date. And actually inconsistent with what the town is. So I'm working on a proposal to bring to the board, maybe not May, then June, to update the limits, so that people who make less than a certain amount are exempt from property taxes.
So
Not a lot of
I have
people
one more
affected.
thing I forgot.
Sure.
I know that I'm not going to take the CBD grant from you guys because I know you guys want to make your own announcement, but just to let you know, the town was also issued a grant from the county for $100,000, and it's going to allow for the building at the town pool to have HVAC upgrades, which will allow Danielle Salowitz, who's the new rec director for the town. If you haven't met her, she's been fantastic to work with, and she's going to start the senior program at the town hall, at the town park building.
The building
So
there.
this grant will allow for that. So that's kind
They
of
make
exciting
it
news on the town.
winterize it or whatever they can do.
Correct. It's HVAC, and I think they do a dividing wall and some upgrades to that building. So it's good news, and also seniors in the village will be able to access that as well. So
But while you're there, you can announce the village.
nope, I'll save that for somebody else.
Okay, fine. All right. Okay, thanks, Jude. All right, now.
70 calls for March, pretty typical as far as the number of incidents. We're way up for mutual aid received for EMS, as you'll see. We had an enormous number of simultaneous calls in the district last month for some reason. We had 10 or 12 times where we had 2 calls in the district or even 3 calls in the district at the same time. So most of that mutual aid incoming relates to those. And in fact, 6 of those 10 were ones where our volunteer ambulance did respond on second call. And
really?
we have a paramedic unit come and assist. That falls under that mutual aid category.
So we had NDP was out, your volunteers were out, and we had a call.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Or we had another paramedic unit come to assist the volunteer ambulance because it was an advanced life support.
All right. You saw the note I sent to Dana Smith.
I did.
So you guys came and said concerned because Pleasant Valley was threatening to withhold mutual aid.
So Empress told the county during an incident that it was their understanding that their paid unit to Pleasant Valley, their dedicated unit in Pleasant Valley, is not supposed to go and respond mutual aid out of the district. That has since been clarified, I guess. I forwarded you, I think, the note from the county that says that they got with Empress at Pleasant Valley, and they said, no, they are part of the mutual aid plan, and they are expected to,
You said that, I haven't seen, you said it recently?
I thought I did, yeah, I'm pretty sure I said.
I haven't seen that.
I'll make sure I forwarded it to you.
Yeah, please do. That's good to hear.
And that is consistent with what Dana said in his email today that you forwarded to me. So that was, I guess that's been rectified. That the questions arising from that particular incident. But it would be good to sit down and go.
All right, fine.
Just
So
go
I'll get
over
the
it.
meeting together.
I would let that go ahead and go forward at
Okay.
that meeting
I'll set that up.
if they're.
So just so the board understands what's going on is that municipalities are getting upset with others overutilizing mutual aid. So in other words, like here, we're paying for NDP 24/7 service, but if they get a mutual aid call outside and then we have a legitimate call in the town of Washington, we got nobody, right? And so I think Range had a problem with Unionville. They issued a statement that said we're not going to do mutual aid to
Some years ago.
a while ago. And then recently Pleasant Valley threatened the same thing. So what I said to Dana Smith, who's the director of EMS, I guess, for the county,
All emergency response.
emergency response, is that they need to take this thing by the, by the horns and tell these guys, you can't do that. It's just not right that everyone starts putting up these fences saying, I'm not going to mutual aid for you because you don't do enough coverage of your own stuff. The county's got to get in there and figure out what these guys need to do to get adequate mutual aid within themselves so that there is adequate coverage within their own services so that we can both continue to do mutual aid, which is the right thing for the populace.
I think reciprocity is the issue because some municipalities that have 24/7 coverage are obviously there's a greater burden on them, by
Absolutely.
the ones that don't have it after 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
But
that's where the issue is arising. So,
and-
and to be honest, I don't know. The county doesn't really have a basis to dictate to any of the municipalities what they should do.
Yeah, they can't dictate it, but they can sure,
They could put maybe
encourage.
apply some pressure.
right, apply some pressure, that's a good way to put it. And that's what we really want them to do, just to be in control of this thing, because otherwise it's a death spiral.
Yeah.
It's just not good for,
Or at least have a consistent policy across
sure.
as many municipalities as possible.
All right, good, so I'll continue to follow, get that group together just to talk about it, so we're all in the same wavelength. All right, good. All right, anything else?
Not for me, no.
All right, Matt?
I don't have anything.
Yeah, the windows,
Well, the windows were ordered. The voucher is actually here. You're going to hold the check
right?
when the work is done. Then JP Woods, who won the bid, will be awarded the check.
Okay,
I'm not sure how long the windows will be. When they're in, then he'll start the work.
okay. And then the alarm system is in, we're gonna vouch for that.
The alarm system's in, up and running, which is good. It took him 4 days to put the alarm system in. I took a personal day from work to be here, and then it's up and running.
All right, good. I want to talk about the sign. So when the sign went up, I said to Ted, it doesn't look like the schematic. I think you should lower it. We're gonna go lower it until Ted and I went out to look to see, you just can't lower it, right? It's on a
Yeah,
nice,
it would have to be rebuilt.
yeah, right. But so, I thought what we agreed was, well, let's do something to reduce the exposed legs, is how I put it, right? Right
Yeah,
now,
we-
there's
we-
36 inches of exposed legs, and the request was, can you cut that in half? And you talked about putting a planter or something, which was analogous to what you did with the last one, so
Right.
tell me what you're gonna do.
We don't really have a plan just yet. We've had brief discussions between Matt and myself and a couple other people, whether to look for some used brick that we could use for that would kind of match the building, or possibly stackable pavers or something like that. We'll work on a little bit over the next few weeks. Up until this week, it's been a little on the cold side to be doing that kind of stuff. Well, I mean, it's not for free, anyways.
No, I understand.
So
Although I
yeah,
do remember you dropping Dominic's name.
we'll
discussion.
work on that a little bit. There will be some concrete work involved, so maybe we can get some help with
Your
that.
name was brought up. Okay.
And put a planter in there and put some flowers in there,
Yeah.
so the legs will be hidden.
I
Or at
appreciate
least be a
that.
little more aesthetically.
Which is what you were talking about anyway, so I just appreciate you following up on it. Any questions about that? Comments? Yes.
I have this odd thing from working on computers back in the 70s, where anything white against a black background is pink. And I can't read, when I'm on the corner of Washington and Front Street, I can't read that sign. And I'm wondering, did we dictate that it has to be white characters on a black background?
Yes.
Quite specific.
Because I find that much more difficult to read than what we used to do, which was black on white. And I noticed the magazines, everybody's doing this, and I can't read the things. And I just wanted to ask if that's, if everybody believes that that's more readable, being white on black. I have a problem with it. But that might just be me, and that's all.
It's readable to me. I don't know, I haven't heard any complaint about other than, I haven't heard any complaints about it.
Okay,
I
just
personally
I wanted to ask.
say.
Pat?
I personally think it's easy to say.
Yeah, okay. I do too.
I think the objection to the white background was the amount of illumination that it would create. I mean, if you want,
Oh,
we
that's a
could
good point.
experiment with it a little bit and try like maybe a gray with black letters.
I don't know, I mean, the black-white contrast is good for me, I don't know.
And try to
Right,
keep
but
it at a
it would
low
be-
intensity so that.
It would be interesting to line up some people and have it different ways and see what people saw. See if it were clear.
All right, but Ted's
Because
right.
I've noticed this in a lot.
We can agree to try to minimize the amount of illumination, and that going to the black background was the way to do that.
Right, but we also want it readable.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, just wanted to mention that since I was here.
Or could that be like night mode? And like during the day, it's like a white with the black lettering, so it's easier to read?
You mean night mode, go black on
Like
white?
that could be like, so it's not so bright.
Program it that way.
I don't know. You guys want to try it out? I'm just,
It is hard. I think it's hard to read too,
you think
personally.
it's hard to read?
Yes, I do.
I think the size is hard to read.
The size is hard to read too.
I mean, I can experiment with a little bit, and maybe I'll
All right.
stop down one day and you can look at it.
All right, but can you bring it back before you make any changes? Just,
Oh, yeah.
You know,
The
I
changes are
appreciate you conforming to the
stroke of the
criteria we
tongue,
agreed to,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want to start messing with that unless we're all in agreement. So,
Sure.
all right, experiment and then let's talk again.
Well, have you come down and look?
Sure, absolutely. You got my back. All right, any other questions or comments about that? Okay, any other fire issues? All right, thanks. And by the way, congratulations to the new members, to the leaders of the fire department. Really appreciate you guys stepping up. Looking forward to working with you. So, welcome. Okay, where's the officer in charge? Oh, there he is. Okay, Officer Witt.
How's it going? You
Great.
you got before you the numbers for March of this year.
Yep.
120 total incidents. The stuff to take note of, out of 12 traffic stops, 6 tickets. Out of 8 parking complaints, 6 tickets. You'll notice the information section, that's our FOILs and information requests from other agencies, is a little bit higher than normal, but that's because the mayor and myself agreed to start some of the administrative time. This year, as we have a little bit of extra in the personal services from previously being short-staffed. So I am able to be getting a little bit more of that stuff done in a timely manner. These are also accident reports, things like that, and discovery for other criminal cases that we've assisted other agencies with.
Very good. Let me ask you this, you're still doing the school checks. How often do you still find unlocked doors?
They've been doing, the school's been doing fantastically
That's good to hear.
well this year.
Okay, good.
As maybe only a few times this year total.
Okay.
But yeah, as each year passes, they seem to be getting better and better about it. So
Right.
yeah, we did 18 of those last month. And then just under the, you'll see under assist other agencies, we did help the school twice. We helped with the escort along for the girls basketball team going to state championships.
Okay.
On the way out, we helped with the fire department and the sheriff's office. Upon their return, I organized with the fire department and Unionville State Police and Sheriff's Office to have them escorted back in. So that was our little community policing highlight for last month.
Nice. Very good. Questions about the incidents? Anyone? Okay, as I said at the start, we're going to have an executive session at the end of the meeting to discuss a proposed new hire.
Correct.
All right. Let me just read this. I got this from the town of Poughkeepsie. This is regarding an incident that the officer in charge was significantly involved. February 16th, officers from the town of Poughkeepsie were dispatched to 8081 Dutchess Turnpike, Poughkeepsie, reported a subject that took a 4-year-old child at knife point from the address. Upon arrival, the officers received additional information the suspect had stolen a BMW and fled with the child. The suspect was a non-custodial father of the child. So the agency requested Dutchess County 911 to broadcast to all police agencies. The surrounding sheriff's office, Connecticut State Police were also advised. And at 9/11, Officer Witt observed the vehicle on Route 343 and notified the units of the State Police and Dutchess County Sheriff's Office, who joined him in responding to assist the Village of Millbrook Police Unit in stopping the vehicle. The vehicle was stopped, subject was taken into custody, the child was recovered by officers and was unharmed. So town of Poughkeepsie Police Department are giving their thanks to all those who assisted in the Sheriff's Office, the State Police, the Village of Millbrook Police, the FBI, and other police agencies in Dutchess County and surrounding counties. And it goes on to identify the situation. But I want to just congratulate Officer Witt for responding to the 911 call and being the first on the scene to actually go after Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, other things on your mind. Let's talk about the car.
Yeah, I mean, it ties in well with that one. How
ironic. Yeah.
I was
because of the chase, you blew the transmission, and now
just
Look,
about.
at least
I don't
the
know
car
if
ran.
it's quite cause and effect, but I couldn't help you with this. I know. Town of Washington Highway Department was involved in that too. So about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we noticed a transmission slipping in 7K251, which is a 2016 Ford Interceptor. We brought it over to Harry's to have it, officially diagnosed. He says it requires a new transmission or a rebuilt transmission to the tune of about $4,500, and at surface level requires anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500 of additional work that just needs to be done to it. So we're looking anywhere from $6,500 to $7,000 to get 251 back on the road and operational. It's the car, we've had it for about 7.5 years. We got it in late 2015. It's got 85,000 miles on it, but it has probably twice as many hours on the engine. I had discussed with the mayor, if my parents were driving this car, I would tell them to let it go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm certainly not interested in dumping $7,000 into that car. Right.
I mean, that car in particular has been mechanically problematic from about 3 years after we owned it.
Is that right? Okay.
I mean, if you take a look at my repair budget from this year, we're over, not by much, but we're already over for some of the times that's been in.
All right, so question is what are the options? I wanted Karen just to describe what Rhinebeck does. That's something we don't do here today, but just give us an overview of what Rhinebeck does regarding vehicles purchased.
Okay, so we do a municipal 5-year lease purchase agreement. And I do the same thing that Sarah does, go out to get interest rates from different vendors. And they come up with a fee schedule, a 5-year fee schedule. And they kind of take care of all the paperwork. There's no closing as in a bond. And you can also put in like your lights, your lettering, your computer. I mean, it'd be good to put it together as a whole package if you're gonna go out and do a lease purchase. That way, you don't have to buy that elsewhere.
What does it cost? What's the differential in cost between lease to purchase versus what we do, which is just bond and pay off and then own?
It's probably a slightly higher interest rate than if you bond, but you don't have the closing costs.
Think about after 5 years, how much should you pay versus what you would pay if we do it our way?
I didn't do that analysis. I didn't do that analysis. I just did the analysis as the annual rate, interest rate, and the amortization schedule. What I do like about it also is that they amortize out the principal and the interest and keep the payment the same.
Okay.
So for the next 5 years, like let's just say I have a vehicle, you know, 12,000.
Yeah, the payment every year is the same.
Correct.
It's just that they amortize the principal as well as the interest.
Yeah, the principal and the interest fluctuate throughout the 5 years.
It's kind of like a back and load.
It's worked out well. I just yesterday did 3 vehicles for the village, and the board picked the lowest interest rate, and I'm working with the department head to.
So what kind of companies do you deal with? This is not like we do state bid, right? And we go to the bank for the bond.
Okay, so you're still required to do your procurement. You're still required to either get it off a state bid or to get your 3 quotes. So that's not part of this. You're still required to make sure that you follow those, follow your procurement policy. This is just for the financing itself.
Oh, all right.
If you do this after June 1st, then the payment would start a year from then. So the payment would actually be in the 24-25 fiscal year.
The first payment, yeah.
The first payment.
Okay. All right.
So that's an option.
What about the option of, so you got the new car, it's good. We kept the other one with the slip transmission just for the other end of the parade route kind of stuff.
I mean, we can.
Is that doable?
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason that 251 is in the condition that it is in now is because we kept the previous 250, the Dodge Durango, in a similar condition that 51 is in now.
Oh, is that right?
We essentially, without sounding too negative, we kept the previous 250 too long, and it was basically unusable except for things like that. So we went and beat the wheels off of 51, which was the newer car, which now we're in turn doing to the current 250.
When is 250 paid off? I should know that.
We got it. This is our second year with it. I believe we got it in 21-22.
So not until like 26. Actually, I put that in there. I can find out. These cruise last payment's 2025. Okay. All right.
I know with the previous administration, we had come up with an 8-year
cycle. Every 4 years, you
I mean, you get 8 years out of patrol car. Yes, we're the village of Millbrook. Yes, we don't have a lot of high speed. We don't have a lot of area to cover, but they're on for 16. They're running for 16 hours a day. So, stretching these patrol cars to 8 years is like, it's a stretch. And, and 251 just about made it. We're at like 7.5, 7 years, 7 months, something like that. But to try to get 10 years out of a car, I don't think it's going to happen. And I think we're going to perpetually be in this cycle.
Yeah. Which means the next one we should have on a 4-year lease to buy.
So
If we're going to do an 8-year cycle, we should do it on a 4-year lease.
you could. I
Okay.
mean, that's
Right?
I mean, standard is
If
5.
10 years isn't cut, then we should accept that and go to a.
I mean,
that being said, it depends on what the next vehicle is we purchase. Like, there's options like the Chevy Tahoe, which are they're built better. They're basically a truck. Again, from my part-time job, we had 2 Chevy Tahoes that were in excess of 8 years old. One with 180,000 miles on it, one with 220,000 miles.
Oh, really?
On it before they got retired. So the thing is, the Tahoe has a list price of about $10,000 more than the Ford. The Tahoes are also a little cheaper to maintain on the labor end of it, because these Fords are so compact. You're spending a lot more on labor to get to your problem and then to put everything back in once your problem's
So I said the
solved.
Tahoe was more expensive than the Ford.
They are.
Okay. Roughly how much?
About 10,000.
10,000 on a base of like 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the last police car we bought was all said and done was right in the ballpark of 52. But I do believe, from my personal experience, I was assigned to the Tahoe down my other job for 6.5 years, and I don't know. I just like
All right,
them.
look,
They're a little bigger, and there's also Dodge Durango as the other option too.
Let me propose this. First off, let's not get the transmission fixed. Okay.
Understandable.
Let's put it there for decoration or whatever. And let me work with Karen, Sarah, and you as well to figure out what's the optional thing to bring back to the board. And what you're saying is we could do something this year, but first payment wouldn't be until the next fiscal year.
correct.
So it's not going to affect the budget we're talking about tonight.
Correct.
Any comments, questions from the board about that?
I mean, to your point, Tim, we're a small village. We have 2 cars. We have 1 person on at the time, 99% of the time. So
Yeah.
I don't know how we got the 2 cars to begin with. I'm not sure when that happened, but
Let me tell you this, since I've been here, I've been not happy with the reliability of the cars. We've been constantly having cars going into service. All right, and I understand, police, those are hard miles, right? Not even miles,
There's
it's
a lot
idle
of
and stuff.
idle miles.
So I understand that, but it's been very frustrating. If we only had 1 car, I don't know how we do it. To tell you the truth.
I mean, as it
maybe better
sits right
purchasing
now,
is the answer.
What?
Maybe better purchasing,
Better purchasing,
the
yeah,
answer,
maybe
but-
so.
double purchasing of a bad product, I don't think makes sense.
So
Agreed.
I just wanted to say, in most departments, the period of probable usefulness for a police vehicle is 3 years. And because we do this in Rhinebeck as well, because we're rural and we put less miles on it, we can legally stretch it out to 5 years. But normally it is 3 years. And Jared, I'll talk to you later, but we just replaced an engine in our 2016 Ford police vehicle this year as well for $4,500. So
yeah,
I'm curious if it's the same
down
vehicle.
at the other job. They have to get used parts because Ford's no longer making.
And we just got,
New
our
replacement.
chief just got a Tahoe
Yeah.
this year too. So
All right, so let me develop some options with you folks as well as Officer Witt, and we're going to the board next month.
I just quickly, not to too much against Mr. Doro here, but if we only have 1 car, 250 needs an oil change currently. So while that's getting in for an oil change, we're on a foot post if we only have 1 car. So which I've been there in this department. When I first started here, we only had 1 car, and it was a Ford Crown Victoria, and it was down for a week because it needed a new transmission, and the options were foot post or don't come in.
I mean, we're a small village.
We are.
I think foot posts make sense.
Yeah, except when you're dying up on 9 Partners Lane and I'm on Franklin Avenue on my feet. That's, I'm not trying to be argumentative.
No, I would chime in that I think foot posts are a very essential part of the police regiment and should be done regularly, but I don't see going down to one car where you don't have a legitimate second choice. I just think that's basically unsafe for the general public. You can't have someone call the police and say, we're not coming because our car's down. That just doesn't work. If that's the case, then we should go to a county or go to a sheriff's thing where it takes 20 minutes for someone to show up because they're trying to stretch their services throughout the entire county.
Not interested in that.
And I'm not interested in that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
We're gonna have a village police, and let's properly staff it and properly equip it so it's functional. And that doesn't happen with one car.
All right, let me bring back a proposal to the board next month, all right, with options that we can discuss. And again, if we wanted to not spend the $7,000, have it there because whatever we need something that's not going to be chasing anybody down, then I think we're good to go for the time being. Okay?
Yeah, I think it has the potential to get us through the summer if we're not.
Okay, fine. Good.
Is that the car without the computer? Or is that the other one?
No, that's one with a computer. I had to cancel the appointment for it to get the computer put in the new car because I can't be without a car for 2 days.
Okay.
The original plan was to send one up, and then while they install the computer, then you bring the second one up, so we would have something in service.
All right, next question is a follow-up to the discussion last month we had regarding the no parking area on Franklin by Front Street. What I asked is Officer Witt and Bob to go look at what's possible there as far as expanding that. What I'm thinking about is, first off, what do you think about that? Can we expand it, and would it help the problem we have with visibility of people trying to cross Franklin at front in a safe manner?
We can push it up. I know the bank wasn't pleased with hearing things like that.
That's why I talked to George.
Yeah, with the diner side either. It legitimately is only going to offer you fractions of a second.
Mm-hmm.
Visibility, I mean, it depends if you got Nissan Sentras parked there or you got F550s parked there, and there's no way to say, well, this is no truck parking. I mean, I guess that could right.
But yeah. What about a one month trial period where you guys went and put cones out and just blocked it off for another parking space?
That seems reasonable to me.
I mean, is it worth a try?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the difference is when you have cones there, people physically can't park there.
Right.
When it's painted yellow, they still park there, and it's a matter of you got to wait for myself or somebody to come back around the block and find them there. Well, aside from this, I talked to Bob also about the yellow zone there right in front of the deli. When they do the street painting, we're going to put some hash mark in there to further, we have the 3 10-minute spaces.
Yeah.
Then there's a yellow curb there that people park there consistently and all day.
Oh, right by the deli.
Yeah, we're gonna put some hash mark on there to kind of better draw attention to that.
Okay, good.
You shouldn't be parking there.
A lot of them are delivery trucks.
Yeah. Okay, that's a problem.
You really can't see around.
Yeah.
But as for that end of Franklin, I think it's a great idea to try it with cones.
What's the board think?
I think it's a good idea to try it and see if it makes any difference in terms of problems that we have, and if we publicize it enough, some of the people who are consider it a dangerous intersection may be able to weigh in at that point. Mm-hmm. So I don't see any harm in coming to it by putting it in cones.
And what was the concern with the other side? You're saying the deli's upset or the diner's upset about losing space? We're losing space on each side that we're talking about.
You're losing, we're losing at least one space, if not a space and a half. If by the time you paint up far enough for you to have a clear shot up Franklin Avenue from both sides.
Any objections to trying this?
I think visibility is very poor there.
It is.
Really noticed it in the last month.
Yeah.
This is like a real problem that like multiple people have, kind of brought up.
Yes.
So I think pursuing
Multiple people in this room even.
Right.
We don't, even I experience it. I don't like to make a left-hand turn going up.
Yeah, I was surprised when you told me that, yeah.
So what is the objection of painting
I'd like to just have a 1 month trial period so people have a chance to vent. And I like it to be like, 4 cones with yellow tape to keep them out of there. So it looks like it's something that's, that you can't park there for 5 minutes.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
Okay.
Starting when?
All right, I'll tell you when. I'll get back to you. We're all agree with that?
You know what, like
And we'll have a checkpoint.
a good idea is maybe to laminate some paper explaining what we're doing with those spaces, and we can tape it right to the cone.
Not a bad idea.
Due to high number of complaints for lack of visibility in this intersection, we're doing a trial for 1 month to see if this is a viable option, something like that.
I'll also tell the bank just so they know what's going on. And the diner, I should talk to them.
I mean, it just,
It can't hurt.
Yeah,
Okay.
it just limits parking
Yeah.
down there.
They put their own cones out in front of the diner to stop parking, so.
Yeah. By the way, I told Buffy, MBA president, that we require now anyone who wants to do dining on the sidewalk has to
Outdoor
get
dining.
approval from the board beforehand. We have a procedure in place that requires them to get a permit, and so that they need to be upfront with us before they start putting tables on. So,
I've got an application from the diner and from Babette's.
You have, okay,
so
good.
far.
All right.
Not Barbaros?
They're not on the side. Well, maybe they are sometimes. In the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
With,
Yeah,
with
right.
it suddenly
Mine
getting
is
so
space,
warm,
so,
you
yeah,
would
yeah.
think like everybody's probably in panic and has to be.
All right, the last thing I wanted to discuss under the police is I wanted to re-announce the resolution to update the chapter on vehicle and traffic. I want to reintroduce the resolution to update the chapter on vehicle and traffic. As I said, the school board president isn't here to talk about the bus traffic on Alden this month, I believe, or next month. But in lieu of that, I'd like to introduce that resolution that has 2 changes from what we proposed last month. One is to revert back to the no parking during certain hours on Alden, remove the alternate side of the street parking proposal. And I wanted to increase the length of the snow ordinance. It currently goes from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. certain months of the year, I think what it is. I want to expand that to midnight to 6 a.m. The reason why that's of advantage to us is that allows the police to do a more routine patrol and enforcement of that. Any questions about that before I make the introduction?
I think just before we reintroduce it and vote again,
Yeah.
I'll bring it up at the school next month, I guess, but multiple people that I've spoken to about Alden issues as well as Elm issues, parking, bus traffic, parent traffic. It just seems like over and over again, the school has been not a great communicator or neighbor in regards to residents on Alden and Elm. And I think it's a concern that I'm going to, again, reiterate next month.
All right. On Elm too.
So Elm has this new pre-K program, and all the parents have to drop off their kids. There's no busing. So there's a procedure for dropping them off. A lot of parents park on Merritt or other side streets as well. So I was invited to go and check it out both in the morning and in pickup. Merritt is packed with cars. Parents are all around Elm, parking in front of people's driveways. They're actually getting some flack from the school resource officer, from the sheriff's office. It's another concern. But again, just like a lack of communication, not being very neighborly, and I think it's unfair to residents on both streets.
All right, well, that's good you brought that up. So let's have that discussion next month. Yeah, very good. Okay, any questions about the resolution? Yes.
Ryan.
Oh, yeah. Ryan.
Came tonight because it was scheduled to be talked about tonight. In case I can't make it next week, can we at least vent our
Sure,
feelings?
absolutely.
There were some other people from Alden, they had to leave.
Well,
continue with the school not being real good neighbors to the people of Walden. We've been great neighbors to them. We used to be able to park on both sides of our street when I originally moved in there. And the buses would snake through and go up. It was the only way in and out, okay? And that really slowed everything down.
This is before the new school?
Correct.
Okay.
So that really slowed everything down. And that was a good thing. And then when the new school was proposed, the village board at the time sent representatives to the school and said, look, what we'd like you to do, and there was a whole plan proposed, 2 plans, that would restructure their traffic flow so that traffic would never cross. It was in, and one of them, I was on the committee, as well as one of my neighbors, and it was done like a professional draftsman would do it. And the proposal was that they bring the traffic in their driveway, down across in front of the old school, take out that center island, and have a ramp down to Walden, and go around that way, and then it'd come right back up and make the right and go out. You'd never cross another vehicle.
Do you have a copy of that plan? We've looked in the village records for your discussions occurred last month about where the school board promised that they would, reroute the traffic or whatever. We can't find any documentation.
Well, they never promised to reroute the traffic.
Yeah.
And what we had proposed in that plan was, and that was one plan, and they said it was too much money, but yet they blasted all the stone and there would have been enough stone to do the whole rate.
Okay.
And not cost them anything. They ended up paying the whole away. And then what happened was, we proposed to close the end of Walden and put a grass strip with a plastic chain so that they would have emergency egress. We still wanted to be good neighbors. Just, we're not asking you to take our traffic, just take your traffic. And unfortunately, the school board kind of went to war with us and went to the papers and said, oh, well, it came at the last minute, this, that, and the other thing.
Is that right?
Which were total lies because 2 of us went to the meeting. So those were the proposals. And even to this day, it would still be physically possible because the schools start at different times to bring the buses in their road and down and through and never cross. They don't want to do it. They only want what's best for their interests. And all these years, as a person who lived on Alden, they used to do the graduations on the lawn right in Alden. They took every spot on the street. It's fine. It's one day. It's not a big deal. But how about giving back to us? And if you go up onto Washington now, any day, again, it's their responsibility. When the juniors become old enough to drive, their parents give them cars, drive up there any day the school's open. There's 8 to 10 cars. So people that own houses, I have a house, Patrick's house, there's no parking in front of his house. There's no parking in front of the one next to him, which is mine. There's no parking in front of the corner 2 houses down.
Well, Bob and I painted, which is in the updated code now, the length of Church Street, because it fills up with juniors and late year sophomores.
Right, and they used to. The village has been a very good neighbor to the school. For a time, they allowed them to park in the old dump to try to help. Then the school let the students park in their mechanical shop there, right at the end of Alden. Because you're talking, what do you think, Jared? 14 cars?
Yeah, 10 to 14.
10 to 14
Depending
cars.
on the time of the year.
All right, so Brian, you'll be here next month?
I'll try to make it. That's
The second thing is, do you have any documentation that I can provide? Because I talked to Perry Hartsford, does not recognize, I guess it's before his time.
okay.
Discussion.
John Rudy was the deputy president of the school board at the time.
Okay.
And the other one was Hurley, was the president of the school board at the time.
Tom Hurley?
Tom Hurley.
Okay.
And both of them, I had a very stern talking to them.
All right, so they might not be as forthcoming as, but you don't have anything of documentation of your own?
I will see if I can talk to Danny, who did the whole thing up.
All right.
He had them. I don't know.
All right.
But I'll try to get you something.
Yeah, that would be really good, because I'd like to get that to them beforehand, just so they're kind of prepped
Yeah, it
for
was.
where we were before.
We really tried bending over backwards for them, and all we asked was that they take their chapel. And the big reason about the chain link plastic, somebody can go like that and break it, is because when it was only Alden, they had a gas leak at the school, propane. Propane goes across the ground.
Sure.
Nobody could leave.
Oh.
It was when they were building, it wasn't at the school, it was at the senior citizens, and the backhoe cut the line.
Oh, jeez.
And the propane's going across, so you couldn't run buses from it.
Oh, wow.
So that's why, yes, I'd like to see Holden closed, but we have to make sure we have egress for the children.
All right, so the more information you can give me that I can give them, a heads up in terms of what we're concerned about, what we want to talk about, the better, I think. Just so we don't have them cold. Anyone else have a comment? Yes.
I applaud what Brian says. I do want a clarification on what we're doing immediately. And that is you're removing the proposal to do alternate side parking.
Yes, we're going back to the way it is now.
Yes. Are you changing the times?
No.
This original it was going to start at 1 instead of 1:30 or what?
I think the times we're going to keep the same.
Okay.
The times are the same as the proposal from last month.
Okay.
I believe they're different from what's on there now.
Right. I believe that's true from what I read.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought we were going back to the times that were already there.
And the times now are 1:30 to 3:30. And I think they were extending starting at 1.
No, it's 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m.
Right.
Is what they're changing it to.
Correct.
Okay, very good.
That's good?
Well,
Okay.
I'm not sure about the 4 to 4:30, but it's 32. I thought it was going to change it to 1, and that's a dead end.
The issue is the elementary schools aren't letting out until almost 4 o'clock, quarter to 4.
Okay.
So then you also have an influx of the after-school activities and things like that.
Right, thank you. Just clarification on what the times would be. So
Okay,
the times
good.
are different than what they are now, but it'll still be 7:30 to 9:30, and now 2 until 4:30.
Yes.
On Alden Place, yes.
Yes.
Elm is,
Which is where I live, so I care.
right.
Okay,
That
good.
was wrong. Elm times are wrong.
Yeah, in this proposal there.
The Elm Times is wrong?
Yeah,
For
well,
the
see, that's,
morning.
I just want to comment too.
Yeah,
because
sure.
I'm from Elm, and I think that's part of the issue is that there's just not a lot of great communication with the school, village, and residents. Last month's meeting, I got conflicting, when can I comment on the Elm issue or just traffic issues in general? So I thought tonight would be the night too, but I just want to say real quickly, just share my issues with the school, my relationship with them, because I know the school's letter last month. I watched the meeting online. It's Dave Purcell, by the way. I live on Elm Drive. Lived there for 16 years. So in the letter, they mentioned that Alden's similar to Elm. The Elm problem was recently created because of the pre-K programs. And I had no idea those pre-K programs even started. And when they did several years ago, an officer with the village that's no longer here gave 2 tickets to my neighbor and a ticket to myself. We were legally allowed to park. That day, he worked his way up to Officer Witt, and he removed the tickets. I don't think I ever got to thank you, Officer Witt, but in 3 years, thank you. Anyway, so last fall, the same issue started. Our driveways get blocked, and just the traffic flow. So you got people lined up at one side of the street, which only allows one other room for another car. But when cars come around to get around people waiting in line, you have other cars coming up the way, coming out of the school, parents leaving school, and going the same direction. So it took me a while to even ask people out to school, can you help us out, just listen to us. And it took me all the way till I emailed the school president. And that's when I finally had someone, I won't mention names, come to say they wanted to help. And that day again, I was threatened with a ticket for parking out in front of my house. And then the next week, the same person also threatened me again that I could get a ticket where I was parked. I was legally parked because I read the code. But I watched the board meeting last month, and I also read the proposal. I think the proposal is great in my opinion. For Elm, I think you can remove all the signs all the way down to the south entrance, just have that area for the buses to get.
Right, 'cause that's where the buses
That
go.
is in the proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
It's
said.
basically starting at Deidre's house.
But what about the times are wrong?
The times are wrong because the elementary school doesn't,
So what should the times be?
I believe we had said 8:30 or 8 o'clock. I can't remember what we came up with, Vicki.
That's why I can understand the confusion with officers, anybody there, because there's things in the code
Well,
that are
that's
reflected in the
right,
sign.
and that's why this has been a project, an ongoing project to get done, because signage didn't match code. So some of it was enforceable, some of it wasn't. There was code that there was no signage for, and that's why.
Okay, so how do
how
we get the right times in here? We can't just describe that right now. We're gonna go back and check what the right times are.
I mean, the school doesn't open till 9. Parent pickup or parent drop off and buses start anywhere around 8:45. So to me, 8:30 seems reasonable.
8:30 till when?
I would say 9:30 in the morning. There's only one school over there, and their busing is pretty concise.
And the pre-K, Peter, when is the pre-K program?
I'll speak as a parent who has a child
Oh,
in that
okay,
program. It's all day. It operates the same hours as the school. A lot of the problem is you can have children in the pre-K program that start at the age of 3 and turn 4 by December 1st, right? That's follows along with all the other school stuff. But the children that are under the age of 4 can't ride the bus. So at the beginning of the year, there's a larger influx of parent drop-offs for the younger portion of the pre-K program.
Tim, I would invite you and the whole board if they want, just to go check it out one day, because I had no idea kind of the situation, and it really
Sounds like a good idea.
It helps to see it in person, because
Sounds like
it
a good
really
idea.
is kind of like, wow, like I didn't realize this was such a.
I'm
what to
going
do.
tomorrow.
Once you pick a time when you're available, let us know.
Say, well, let's go with it.
That's worthwhile discussion.
We've had to turn our trucks around because you can't even throw.
Okay, Bob, we can't handle everything.
But it's all the same, because like Mr. Purcell's saying, you have parent pickup lined up going on around the whole outer loop of
Okay.
Elm.
No, Peter,
You
that's
have
good.
people
That's a
trying
good
to
suggestion.
go.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
I'm getting totally confused here. I'm just trying to get the hours set.
I'd say 8:30.
8:30 to 9:30, and what in the afternoon?
The afternoon, the 3 to, they don't get out till 3:30, but
So 3 to 4:30 is good?
yeah, 3 to 4:30.
Dave, that's okay?
I think that sounds good to me.
Okay, good. I want to hear that.
But I just want to, I mean, I'll just stop, but I just want to add one more thing. I think to me, the biggest safety issue I already mentioned is merit. Just looking at what's happening there, because you have a crosswalk right before Elm Drive, and then the parents park above that, and they're walking in between cars with small kids. And we all know Merritt is pretty packed.
The village has a pervasive issue. I mean, let me tell you, you go up Merritt Avenue on Saturday morning when there's basketball. Yeah, it's mainly almost a one lane road.
A lot of it, the parking on Merritt has to do with the length of time that parents have to wait in the parent drop off to get
Oh yeah, because they're waiting, right?
to get rid of their kids or drop them off. So if you park on Merritt, you can walk your kids right in. Otherwise, you're waiting 20, 25 minutes in the drop off line.
All right, so
May
look,
I
I think
add a
Peter.
comment as an Elm Drive
Yes.
resident and as former school board member? I think one thing that is important to note, and I did have a conversation with one of the village trustees about this, is years ago, 2 things occurred that are not occurring now on the side of the school district. The first thing is, we used to have crossing guards. Believe it or not, in this village we have crossing guards.
Really? No.
My child walked to school from Elm Drive because there were crossing guards. And the school district paid for it, and their budgets haven't gone down. The second thing is, at start of school and dismissal, the school district provided a staff member out at the apron of the entrance to Elm Drive. You remember that? They would direct traffic. they would not allow cars to make the illegal not illegal because but it's a signpost that says no left-hand turn when you leave Elm Drive. Many cars, again, to avoid the traffic situation, are turning left right in front of Mr. Purcell's house, which causes a nightmare. They used to have that staffed, and that would eliminate that, and would also eliminate the issue with the children crossing over at Merritt. So I think when you have the meeting with the school district, you might want to mention to them that these were things that they had in place that maybe they want to look at reinstituting.
Well, I'll send that an email to Perry to tell him that, so he's prepared to discuss that as well in the next month's meeting.
I mean, just before you go too heavy with the crossing guards, I know that a few years ago, the clerk had requested our list of, from Dutchess County HR, and the crossing guards are listed under our police department.
I think they were village employees.
Oh,
Yeah, they were.
Really?
Just so nobody
They
sticks
were.
their foot in their mouth.
Village
The
employees?
village paid for the crossing guards.
Jeez.
Yes. It was paid for by the village.
Wow.
And they're still listed as active vacancies.
Is that right?
On our list.
Okay. Brian?
You might want to ask Perry to ask past president of the school board if they come. Robbie.
Who?
Was it Robbie? Last name. He lives right over next to the bridge
Okay.
on Stanford Road. He might come in because he was in on those meetings.
His last name was Robbie?
I believe so.
Okay.
I
I'm
don't
not
know
gonna,
who we took over from. He was the last one.
I don't know if I'll ask. I don't know if I'm gonna, require it because.
No,
we
I
need to talk to the
just
attorney.
ask him if.
Yeah, okay. All right, so, Ian, I want to get this thing submitted.
Yeah,
Can I do it because we just made a change to the timing? I want to
you
submit
can.
a resolution to introduce this change, all these changes to the vehicle traffic law. And my average is like not very good, so I'm gonna try it again.
The one change you made was for section 220-47, parking prohibited certain hours. It's Elm Drive. You're just changing 8:30.
Changing 7 a.m. to
7 a.m.
8:30.
to 8:30.
Yes.
Okay.
So can I still introduce this
You can
resolution?
still introduce it. Did you want to wait until you hear back from the school district, or?
Here's my point on that. I want to have a discussion with the school district, but I think those issues that we're discussing are all superfluous to what we're trying to accomplish
Okay.
here.
So to
Because
answer
the
your
board
question,
separate issues. Yes, and we need to address them, but they're superfluous to this. I want to get this thing going,
yeah,
which means I'd like to get it introduced this month for public hearing next month.
which you can
So can I do that?
do. You can.
How do I do that?
You have a resolution. I'm not sure what resolution number it is. Or
Well, I assume it's this one here, 2023-002 version 5.
Version 5.
Thanks a lot for that.
You're welcome.
And this is introducing the local law amending chapter 220 of the village code entitled Vehicles and Traffic to add 2 new sections regarding handicap parking and 2 new sections to add vehicle weight limitations and then update certain other sections of that section of the village code. I refer to this as proposed local law number 3 because it is, you made what I would consider substantive changes to the previously introduced local law.
Okay.
So it's a new local law. And again, it's pretty much the same, or it is the same with the exception of we added
The expansion of the snow ordinance time.
of the snow ordinance times, moved it up from 1 a.m. to 12 midnight. And then there was the change that we just discussed with regard to no parking on Elm Drive. And there's one other change.
No, we haven't changed anything from Elm Drive. That was there before. Elm Drive,
you
we
just
reduced
changed
the
the
amount,
time.
the size of the no
Yeah.
parking.
Correct.
That's the change there.
And then there was one other change that I You're not-
So it's three changes. One of them is to expand the snow ordinance time.
Right.
The second is to remove the alternate side of the street parking. And the
Okay.
third was to change the timing for the no parking on Elm.
Okay.
Those are the three changes.
Everything else is identical to the local law that was introduced.
That's right.
I guess it was 2 months ago.
All right, so I want to make a motion that we adopt this resolution introduction. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, good. That allows us then to have a public hearing next month. I promise we won't do the public hearing until after we've had the school board's discussion. Because if all goes belly up there, we'll hold it for later. Everybody's okay?
John Rudy.
I'm sorry?
John Rudy.
John Rudy?
Rudy, that was.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, y'all. Okay, good.
So your public hearing will be held at the next
At the next board meeting.
board meeting
Yes.
in May.
Yeah. What is it, May 10th?
May 10th.
All right, that's good. That's progress. Okay, anything else for the police?
Sorry, everybody.
Hey, it's important stuff. What can I say?
Not your fault.
Okay, let's move on. Bob.
Yeah, I'd like to discuss some changes. No. Pretty cut and dry. Snow ordinance has ended.
Officer Wood, you're coming back, right?
I'm not leaving the property.
Okay, thank you. Okay, sorry, Bob. Go ahead.
The snow ordinance has ended, and as has the snow. Brush pickup started on April 1st, and that will run to June 1st. Everything else is pretty well spelled out in the report. The one major thing that we did have on 3/11 was a 10 to 12 inch snowstorm, which we spent most of the next couple of weeks cleaning up everyone's pine trees.
The pine trees at the fell, yeah.
And that continues. People are still putting them out, but it's brush season, so that's fine. As far as the buildings go, the water fountain will be installed on Tuesday at the Village Hall.
Oh, that's good. All right, good.
And the windows at Village Hall will be completed on Friday.
Yes. Okay.
And pretty much everything else is just our day-to-day stuff.
And the guys came today to fix the, repair the sign,
Oh,
Superior sign. They were there today.
he's there. Okay.
Yeah. All right, good. Any questions about Bob's report? No? Anybody in the audience? No? Thanks, Bob. And I'll talk to you about the cones for the expanded parking.
Yeah, just give me,
Yeah. All right, good. No more questions, let's move on. Scott?
All right, we'll do the water first. All sampling and maintenance. We read all the water meters. The bills have been sent out. I have hydrant flushing scheduled for next week. We're putting out a blackboard notice tomorrow afternoon. And the last thing I got, we have, yeah, well, I mentioned this to you last week.
Okay.
So when we read the meters, we had 8 meters that came up with a question mark on the read. So then I called Census to find out what to do, what that is, and he says that that's an indication that your register, which is digital and it's battery powered, is due to be replaced within 6 months. These happen to be on larger meters, therefore 1.5 inches or greater, which are probably like $1,500 or more. The whole
$1,500?
The whole meter, yes. So the register replacement, which I've already gone ahead and ordered because it's going to take months to get them. The register is about $480 a piece. So in order to keep reading the meters, we'll have to replace them, the registers that is. Now they may last longer than 6 months. They might last less. I have no idea. But that brings us to the other meters that we have, that most people have in their houses, which have a 20-year lifespan on the battery. And putting the information together, since I got this, we have about 400 of those that we'll have to replace roughly within the next 12 years.
How many?
400.
400?
out of 790
To
something.
replace it in the next time frame?
12 years.
Okay.
So we started the meter replacement in 2012.
And how much are those meters?
$200
200?
right now. 10 years from now, who knows? But as with everything, the price goes up. So I just wanted to bring it up. It's something we probably should discuss and come up with some kind of plan.
Well,
I know it's 12 years, but I figured if we start now, maybe we can come up with a plan. We can start to budget for it.
well,
starting
yeah,
next
that's right.
year.
That's a key thing for us is a budget for it. So
Right.
you need to give us what the plan is, how often you're going to replace these things. Starting now, I guess. And then we need to adjust the rates to reflect that.
Well, another thought.
Does the individual pay for this, or do we actually?
Well, the village pays for the water meters.
Okay, fine. So there's part of the
You can do
overall-
whatever you want. You're the board.
No, there's part of the overall cost of
Right.
water service. Then. Does
So-
that include the replacement of these meters?
Does the village pay for like 2-inch and bigger for businesses? Because in Rhinebeck, we have in our code that if it's
Yeah,
if it's 2 inches
the
or
code.
more,
The code
says
states
that the village.
if they up to a 1 inch.
Okay.
And then anything greater than that, the customer pays for the cost that exceeds a 1 inch meter.
Oh, okay.
Say a 1 inch meter
Yeah.
costs $260, an inch and a half costs $1,500. The difference of that
Right. Well,
would
that's
be paid
good.
for.
I see.
That's something.
Okay.
So, with the larger meters, you're able to pull the guts out, so to speak, and keep the body. So, that's something that we can look at down the road. But with this smaller meters, it's just one unit. So, the thought that someone gave me, and it's something that we can talk about down the road, but is to put a meter charge on the bill, like $1 or $2.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, that would obviously add up.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at $80,000 in 12 years, but that's, again, something we'll have to talk about.
All right, so you need to come back and tell us, here's the rate at which you want to replace the meters. And we
Well-
can start budgeting.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is we don't know. I mean, they can die tomorrow. Not all of them, but
Oh, so we're not gonna
it's
do
a battery.
We're not going to do a proactive plan replacement. We're going to respond as they die.
Well, we could do it, if you want to do, we could do that. I mean, again, you got 10 years. If it dies within that 10-year span, it should be under warranty.
Yeah, okay.
But we already had this once a few years ago. Someone had the battery died, and it was only in for like 3 years. So that'll be under warranty.
Okay.
You still got to replace that meter so you can get a read, but then you got to go through the whole process with the census of there's a whole process you got to go through to get your warranty, just like any other company.
Sure.
But you can, if it's under warranty, it tells you on the meter, it says, it gives you a replace date. So you can't just go out, I can't go out and like purchase like 40 meters and have them sit on the shelf because the battery's going to be wearing, you know what I mean?
Sure, okay. Those are better.
I do have some, but I don't,
Okay.
it's like 12, but I mean, I've already put together a list of all, and I try to keep track of, it's hard, but when they.
So right now,
change.
how many do you think you need to replace now?
Right now?
Yeah.
I have 8
8.
that I've already put the approval in to get that done because the registers are probably going to die within 6 months or so. But that's only 8. But like I said, I compiled a list and came up with 400 going back to when we started that are going to need to be done within the next 12 years.
Okay. All right, so then we need to start budgeting for that.
Right.
And what you're proposing is we have a meter fee added to the bill.
It's just someone threw it out. I thought, it's not a bad.
All right, so let us chew on that, and we'll
Yeah.
discuss it in more detail next month after I give some thoughts to the trustees.
Yeah, we can talk about it over months.
Yeah.
And we can go into next budget season and have a plan. If I started now, we can bandy it about, talk about it.
All right.
As opposed to doing it during budget season when everything gets hectic.
Yep. How many bills got the red line notice about the need for them to call you up to get their meter
I have to ask Dawn specifically, but I think the list I had was roughly 30 to 40, somewhere in there.
Is that right?
In fact, somebody called today. We're scheduled to go take care of somebody tomorrow.
Okay, so we won't get into the point. The next bill is when I have to start issuing a letter.
Right.
So I need some heads
June.
up from you in terms of
How many and
how
who?
many or what to say, a draft or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, so after we read in June, because I put together a list anyway from my own knowledge, so I know
Good.
what's going on. I've been doing that.
So that'll be the first time when I'm issuing a letter to go with,
Yeah.
with the water bill.
Right.
Okay, good. So you'll give me a heads up on that.
Yes.
Speaking of the water, how we're collecting right now for water. We're showing the operating expense report says the revenue is $18,000 under the expenses in the F fund. Are we expecting to get more revenue from the billing that just went out, or is that?
I would expect so.
Is that
Yeah.
cover?
I would, yes.
Okay.
We didn't book the next billing, right?
I only just got it.
Okay, no, we haven't booked the next billing, so.
Okay, fine.
That will be.
So we're in good shape there.
Yeah,
Yes.
they just went out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
Friday.
Yeah, I only
just
got it.
what we could do also is when we get close to the end of the year, if your budget's looking okay, maybe we can do what we talked about doing in the general fund and have the board authorize a budget amendment to move it to transfer to capital. And then we'll do that so we can start building that for this purpose.
Well, actually, to reserve it, right?
Or to the reserve.
To the reserve, yes.
That's what I
Okay.
meant, yes.
Yeah. So this time we didn't put any money into the reserve for this budget.
Just to
like we
make
did
it,
the last
right.
2 years.
Just to make it
Last-
balance.
Yeah,
Right.
last.
And so the idea was we'll see how we're doing from a funding point of view and maybe make a
do
mid-year
it this
kind
year.
of,
Yeah.
addition to the reserve fund. I'd like to do it for both water and sewer, by the way, while
Okay.
we're looking at it.
Yep.
If we can. Okay, good. All right. Anything else on water, Scott?
No.
Questions about water?
That leak. They
Oh yeah, tell me about the leak. Got a call from a person on
3244 Sharon.
Sharon Turnpike saying there was a water leak from the village line. What's the story of that?
I went out there. I don't know if everybody knows where it is. I think it's the bed and breakfast there.
Yes.
Almost across from Valley Farm. So they have. It looks like it's been leaking a while.
Oh really?
Well, because water's just kind of sitting there and ponding up. But it's on. There's a fence there, so it's on. You can't see it from the road. It's on the back side of the fence. Unfortunately, their curb valve is right up against the fence post, so I can't get on it to determine what side of the valve it's on. Being that we're having to check valves and pipes and everything for this lead service line, we're scheduled to deal with it on Monday.
Okay.
I had spoken to the homeowner on Friday. I'm meeting with Joe tomorrow, but on Friday, he's going to have guys come up and we're going to take part of the fence down. Probably have to do.
Really?
Have to.
Is that right?
Well, literally, it's right there.
Oh my God.
So you have no choice. And I told this to Homer. I know he gave me the same reaction you gave me, but it's either that or you don't fix it.
Okay.
So I mean,
All right, so
it's
the
not our
homeowner
fault
knows?
that they put a fence there.
The homeowner knows?
Yeah.
Okay. What'd they say?
About
Taking the fence down.
He gave me the big eyeballs, and I
Yeah.
said, "Well, it has to be fixed." You
Wow.
know, so
Okay.
it's either that or it's going to get real bad, and eventually have no water. Then I'll have to come fix it.
Sure. Understand.
And I can't. I also explained to him. I said, with your shut off there against the fence post, if you had a problem in your house, I couldn't come and shut the water off because I tried to put my key on it. So the fence post and the valve box is leaning, so I put my key on it, and it's like I can't turn the key.
Can't turn.
I can't even get it all the way down in to turn it. So it's got to be fixed
Okay.
one way or the other. So
Sounds like the fence should stay down permanently or be rerouted or something.
we'll have to see what I could probably, reroute the curb valve, and maybe
okay.
my thought is to put it on the road side of the fence. But we'll have to see when we
All right. So the homeowner knows it. That you'll be there on Monday and take down the fence.
Well, I told him we'll be there Friday to do that. We're going to try to do it that way. We don't have to be dealing with that on Monday. We'll take the fence down on Friday.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then he's got to have some bushes removed because there's.
Who's on the hook for that kind of stuff?
Well, it's the village responsible up to the curb valve. So it looks, I mean, the water's coming right out around the curb valve. So if it's, in my experience, usually it's the connections on the curb valve that are the problem. The village is responsible to replace the curb valve.
And the fence and everything else too?
Well,
Or?
that's a good question.
Well, I have to remove it to get to it. So
Yeah, you're asking who's responsible to put it back together
Right.
or whatever. I guess I'm gonna say it's a discussion.
I would think that the village has
Isn't there
to remove
some
it.
kind of easement?
Well, Scott, will you know, like, will we know exactly where the issue is once you get in there?
of course.
Typically, a homeowner should put their fence over a curb valve, though.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, we have issues like that where homeowners
But
put
there's
bushes
stuff
right
all
there where the
over.
shut-off valve is, and we don't. Or you had a problem last year where you replaced a fire plug
Yep.
and you know.
Yeah.
I
So
just don't want to be surprised with a, $15,000 fence bill in 6 months. That's
well,
all.
my
From the homeowner,
my
not from
intent
you.
would be to put the fence back the way it is, and that should be the village's only responsibility.
Yeah.
In my, we're not going to just rip it down. We're going to take, because it's
Yeah.
it's not a standard stockade fence, but it's like a stockade fence. So I about 8-foot panels roughly. Obviously, the posts will have to come out.
So in the past, there's been negotiations. It's not been big things. We never had to get legal involved in it. It's been kind of handshake agreement.
As far as
It's been like a $15,000. It's been $100 and stuff.
yeah, as far as the
Not going to be $100 this time.
Well,
as far as the bushes, we'll do our best to maintain them and put
Sure.
it back. But there's no guarantees that they're going to grow back. But
okay.
Could the fence be causing the issue?
I think it is actually.
Was that right?
Yeah.
Huh. Wow.
I only say that because the fence itself from the roadside is older, and when you go back there and they've reinforced it with 4x4s, and the 4x4 is literally right next to that curb valve, which is sticking up by this much. But people do things, and I'm not blaming the homeowners. They're older. I don't think they did the work, obviously, but I don't know when it was done. But it's pressure treated stuff. It doesn't look that old, so in the last few years.
Really? Okay.
But
all right. So you got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
Just keep me posted.
We'll
All
do.
right. Anything else?
On water, we're good.
Thanks. Let's go on to sewer.
All right. All sampling and maintenance. We replaced the manhole on Harts Village Road. Earth Care has delivered my dry sludge dumpster, so we'll be starting that soon. We did start cleaning the filter beds. I ordered and received the delivery of the new flow meter, and I spoke to our tech, and he's supposed to be here by Friday to put it in. He's hoping to come tomorrow afternoon to start.
Good.
So with any luck, it'll be done by Friday.
All right.
And cleaned up the yard around the plant from the winter.
All right. The bid opening is tomorrow at 1:30 for the pump as well as the generator. I sent an email on that. And so hopefully we'll find out then what the cost is going to be. And then we'll proceed to complete the application. So that's moving.
That's good.
With the band we've got, that's, can we talk about the band now?
Sure.
Okay, so as I discussed last time, we need a band to provide the upfront funding for the cost of the Bennett Park sewer pump and generator. That's a requirement for us to apply to DASB to get a $250,000 reimbursement from member money from both Assembly Member Barrett and Senator Hinchey as part of the application process. And so Sarah has put together a resolution that we want to get board approval to be able to accept the band. Can Sarah just tell us what you did with the bands?
Well, that resolution was for that trust.
Oh, what about the band?
The ban is I went out and requested from banks rates.
Yeah.
So I have the answers for, I got them before the meeting, so that's what I have. So I got.
Well, that's what we authorized you last time to go out and get the ban.
Correct.
Quotes. Now you've got 3.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So Bank of Millbrook was the only one that returned a at 3.75% for the ban. And Salisbury and M&T they said that they didn't want to put in a bid this time around. So.
All right. So we got 3 responses and only
3 responses.
One actually gave us a quote.
Correct.
Okay. And so how do we get that going? Can we get the board to accept that? So I'll make a motion that we accept the ban offer for the Bank of Millbrook for 3.75% for a 1-year ban of $313,000 it is?
Well, you need to do that by resolution. Is it new?
Oh, it's a new ban.
Yeah.
It's a new.
Yeah.
So that you haven't done.
All I did was get the rates.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need a bond resolution. Any ban has to fall under a bond resolution.
Okay.
Just the way it has to be.
So it's gotta be a formal.
Unless you have bond resolutions that you've done for some. Can't exactly remember for.
Sure, we did one for the sewer plant. We did one for the water plant. Yeah, we've done those. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this would be a different project. You have to do.
So we need a formal resolution with the.
Yeah, bond resolution and the ban resolution and those other documents.
Okay.
Now I want to get that this month though. So do I need a separate meeting then?
That's a good question. I don't know.
So what I need is I need Ian to do his thing to put together the official resolution, and I need us to get together again. I'm going to suggest in 2 weeks, so we can get the board to review and approve the resolution to go accept this ban. Because I need that in order to make the application.
Right. I don't know.
And they
Is there
usually.
a deadline in that? Because I'd like to
April
make sure
30th.
we get a ban and we get some bids back.
The bids.
Tomorrow, hopefully we'll get something.
Oh no, we've got 3 bids so far. Yeah, the bids are there.
Oh, they're there.
I'm interested in the application to get the
No, I
$4
got it.
million
As long as we
grant,
have somebody
and that's
to
got to be
do it.
done by April 30th, which is why I need Ian to do your thing with Sarah.
Yeah.
And we're ready. Then I'm going to call a special meeting of the board for the simple purpose of reviewing and approving that resolution. Okay. Can we agree on 2 weeks from today? You guys are good? Everybody okay? So I want to have a meeting of the board of trustees, whatever 2 weeks from today is. Oh, jeez.
26.
I just have a question for Ian. Do you think that because they're getting but I think it's state or federal funding that it should have a bond counsel, or can you do it without bond counsel? I'm just asking the question.
It depends on the amount.
325.
325,000. We've done bans for that amount. That shouldn't be an issue.
Well, that's right. It's 325, not 313. You're right. 313 is the quote that they give. We're going to go for 325.
Were you, Tim? Were you saying that DASME recommended bond counsel, or
No, that was for the wastewater treatment
for
plant.
EFC? Okay.
Yeah, that was for EFC, right?
Yeah, there are some cases where because of the amount or because of the agency that's involved, they want that bond counsel. If it's over $1 million, generally we can't do it, and you've got to. It's a little more complicated because you're required to advertise for the bonds.
Okay,
They do
so
public
just
sale.
so we're clear, I want a board meeting on the 26th of April, 6 p.m. for the sole purpose of reviewing and approving the resolution to go for a ban. Okay? All right. Good. All set? Let's move on. Okay, Scott, you all done? What are all these red lines, or what is this? Oh, the flow meter. Okay.
Flow meter that is not operating properly.
Yeah. That sure sends the message. Okay, good. Okay, Sarah.
Okay.
Department report.
So I just put building first only because we're going to do the public hearing
Sure.
second. So So, building department's obviously starting to get pretty active with the good weather coming. Planning and zoning also is actually pretty active. They have I think they have 5 applicants before them, 3 accessory apartments, one of which is they're also doing a generator, so that's apparently a separate application. And then the lot line adjustment for the Bennett Park. I want to say April 10th they had a public hearing for 2 or 3 of the applicants, and then ZBA is going to meet, I believe, the 17th of April.
Okay.
And then, so I don't know if you guys have noticed the signs that have been going up, but we got the signs for that to meet our code for the planning and zoning public hearing notices. So that's about all I have for building.
Questions about building? All right, go ahead.
So for treasury, I did the transfer for the fire department reserve, and I put that into the New York class, the 60,000.
Okay.
You won't see that in the bank balances, but I did receive the beginning of April the relevies from Dutchess County. I talked to Tim today about this. I reached out to the state about chips because I had put in the application to find out what's going on with the payment, and apparently they did not process it. I'm not sure why. They didn't really give me a good reason, but they moved us to the top of the list, and hopefully they'll be able to give us the payment before June. If not, it's going to be June. So I did ask if they could. I don't know what they didn't give me a good reason why.
So if it doesn't come to June, that accounts for next fiscal year, right?
We book it as a receivable for this year.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I haven't. They said they were going to work on it. That has to go through the manager. So hopefully it'll.
It's $88,000, so it's a lot of money.
It is. Yeah.
We've already booked the expenses. So
correct.
It's only fair that we get the revenues to count it.
Correct. Yeah. So I do have that going.
Good.
Went to the conference, NYGFOA. Karen and I went for financial training, which was really nice. Been preparing documents for budget. I have the ARPA report. I'm probably going to ask you about the end of the month it's due. And then
so the ARPA report is where we justify the expense we did for the annual. Right. I just asked her to close the make sure the wording is right and we're legit.
Right. So. Yeah. So and then I did do a reminder for that one resolution, so we don't forget to do it.
Yes. Can we do that now?
Yeah.
So at the end of the package, where's it at?
I gave it to you. Do you have a copy of it?
Yeah, I've got it somewhere.
I figured since everyone needs to sign it, I didn't make other copies of it.
Right, so here's the issue where we have this Lamont Trust that we have owned 210 shares, I think, of Excel utility stock. And the proposal was that we sell the stock and then book that money into the HNL Trust Fund that's here. So in other words, we were getting dividends from the stock on an ongoing basis, and the proposal was to cash out the stock and just put that money in here to be used for village improvements. Yet to be termed village improvements. More of the HNL's trust fund. All right. So I've got this corporate resolution that Sarah's put together with the undersigned being what happens is they asked for proof that we are the controlling entity for the stock.
Right.
So it says, we the undersigned being all the board of trustees of the village of Millbrook do hereby consent pursuant to section 708B of the Business Corporation laws of the state of New York, organized and existing under the laws of New York, and having its principal place of business at 35 Merritt Avenue, Millbrook, New York, 12545. Upon motion duly made and seconded, the following was adopted by a majority of the officers present in person, entitled to vote thereon, April 12, 2023. Therefore, it is resolved, Mayor Tim Colby is authorized to sign any documents for the village on behalf of the Village of Millbrook Board of Trustees. By affirmative votes noted as signatures below, the majority vote of the Board of Trustees with authority to bind the Village of Millbrook approves the form and content of this resolution to be effective immediately. And what I'd like to do is, first off, ask the trustees if they have a problem with signing this as a requirement for us to present to the shareholder service that I'm duly allowed to sign and cash out this stock. Any questions about that? Okay. Then, do I need a vote or just pass it around and ask them to sign?
We can make a motion to
I
pass
make
it.
a motion that we sign this off so I can sell those shares of stock and enter the cash into the H&L trust account. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. I'm gonna sign it. I'd like you to each sign it, pass it on down. All right, thank you. Oh, this is just the ban, okay. So we'll have a separate meeting on that. All right, now let's talk about the budget. So I asked Karen to just kick off the budget presentation, basically with the chart that we reviewed last month. Now, the only one who wasn't there, I guess, was Judith. So, and she can't see it anyway. This is the same chart you had last time, right?
Yes.
Gives the overview of what we're
Yes.
doing with the budget. Do the trustees have any questions or comments about this? We're basically going to go to public hearing and then go to a vote to accept the budget as it was presented last meeting. Questions or comments?
Ready to go.
All right, so Karen, I don't know that you need to go through it. It's here.
I think if everyone's read it, I think only just the big thing to probably announce is that it's being presented at $5.03 per thousand assessed value. The tax rate increased 3.7%. However, the tax levy remained below the 2% tax cap. And then just it lists the expenses and revenues that the board has already reviewed at the last meeting. And then in the water fund, it's just with the understanding that that there is a 3.5% increase and that we are paying interest only on 2 bond anticipation notes totaling $750,000 that will need to be converted to long-term debt in the coming years. I believe that's 25-26 fiscal year. Sewer fund is holding steady, and we will bond, and we talked about the bond for 325 and capital project replacement, and the sewer benefit assessment will be increased from 50,000 to 61,000.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to go to a public hearing for the review of the proposed budget for fiscal year 2023-2024.
You're opening the public hearing?
I'm opening public. I need a motion to do that, so I make a motion to take a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The public hearing is open. So any questions or comments from the audience regarding the proposed budget?
I'm not even listening.
Okay, good. All right, then I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Now I want to go to a vote for the budget. Now, when I do the vote, I'd have to specify what we're actually changing.
I would just make note of the SBA increase and then the water.
Yes, right. So that's part of the motion. So I'll make a motion that we accept the proposed budget for fiscal year 2023-2024. That includes an increase in the tax levy that's just below the 2% cap. It includes an increase in the water rate by 3.5%, effective June 1st of 2023, and it includes an increase in the sewer special benefit assessment of $11,000, again effective June 1st, 2023. Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, congratulations, we passed the budget for the next fiscal year. Good job.
On time.
On time, that's right.
If you don't need me,
No, you're done, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, well done, really appreciate all the work you guys did to make this happen.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you. Team effort here.
Definitely. Okay, any public comments? And then let's just go to any board member updates. So we'll start with the deputy mayor.
Should I talk about right now or?
Sure.
Okay. So I don't see Jared, which is a shame.
Is he?
Yeah.
Should we bring him in?
Yeah, because this is actually.
Yeah, could you?
In the meantime, I could just quickly do the electric vehicle
Yes.
chargers.
Sure.
As most of you have probably seen, the electric vehicle chargers are installed at the village hall, but I think we're still waiting for Central Hudson to hook up. I broke past there, just as I was coming here, it didn't look like they were hooked up yet. They're sort of at their mercy. And once that happens, we can get the electrical inspection. The village and town have agreed to share the expenses of outfitting the pad so that people can park when they charge. And we're also pursuing with the company the idea of maybe getting some signage, which I think, is a good idea. You don't have to have it because most people rely on their apps to find where the electric charges are, but it's good to get the message out that the charges are in fact here, especially since they're not on Main Street. So we're hoping to get them online before the tourism season goes into full swing. And just to clarify for everyone, they are level 2 chargers, which there are really 2 kinds of chargers that seem to be in most use. The 2s and the 4s, the 4s being the superchargers, which are generally placed right off highways. So you go in, you charge your car up for 20 minutes, usually pay more, and you get a stiff penalty if you remain in that spot any longer than the charge takes. The chargers that we're putting at the town hall are level 2 chargers, which charge about 25 miles per hour, which means from a tourism standpoint, they're geared to people who you want to visit the village while their car is charging, or employees. A lot of times they put those in for lots of companies for employees to charge all day, or in the case of Millbrook, if somebody doesn't have a charger, whether they're in an apartment building or rental, or they just don't have a charger and they have an electric vehicle, they also could take advantage of it overnight, because it's sort of like the length of time of a home charger. So the company is getting us quotes for signage and also quotes for paving. Though we have our own pavers, we can compare that and figure out.
Yeah, Bob and Joe Spagnola are working on getting someone to come and pave the 20 by 40 footprint that where the station's in.
Right, so as soon as we get that, the other quotes we can discuss.
Yep.
Jared, speaking of your vehicle, so we were going to pursue a municipal investment grant through the county for the vehicle, which it said on the application that the vehicles that weren't eligible were command and communication vehicles. So we thought, let's try it, even though it didn't seem like it was the priority of the application. I started filling out the application, and apparently the county interface looked at it, and they wrote back that vehicles are categorically excluded from eligibility this round. So the focus otherwise seems to be training or equipment related to active shooter incidents. So, or hostile events, I guess, big terrorist events. The minimum though is $25,000. So I don't know if you have any expenses that reach that level.
We absolutely could.
Okay, well, if you put something
mean,
together.
Because I know we're looking at the purchase of rifles, which were upwards between the rifle, putting optics on it,
outfitting them correctly, we could get it done as low as $3,600, but there's definitely, it could be done.
Well, given that these constraints, why don't you look and see what you might be able to apply for? The date for application is when?
May 3rd.
May 3rd, so it's coming up quick. All right. If you have something you think might be legitimate, we'll submit it. Okay, good. Anything else?
I can do, it's a pretty easy application. I filled out all the rest. We just need your description of what we need and an estimate of the cost.
Sounds good.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, Mike?
Okay, I've got, so unfortunately, I've got like 5 things, I'm sorry, but that's where it is. Well, hopefully pretty good. First one, the village has been awarded a $100,000 community development block grant from Dutchess County for phase 2 of the sidewalk plan. This award is being given to us as long as we fulfill certain conditions, which we're trying to clarify with county representatives this week. The mayor, Tom Harvey, from Rennie Engineering, George Procus from DEC Urban Forestry Division, and myself met with the county grant committee representatives on April 4th for a walkthrough review of the south side of Franklin Avenue from Front Street to Friendly Lane. Those areas comprise phase 1 and phase 2 in our overall sidewalk plan. Rennie Engineering hopes to be able to submit final plans to state DOT for a permit to complete sidewalk repairs for both phases next week. Once a state DOT permit is granted, the village can send out notices to obtain bids for the construction work. It's our hope that we can finish phase 1 and possibly even phase 2 before the end of 2023.
Okay.
Any questions about that? No, okay. Secondly, the Arbor Day Foundation said on behalf of the Arbor Day Foundation, I'm thrilled to congratulate Millbrook on earning recognition as a 2022 Tree City USA. Residents of the village should be proud to live in a community that makes the planting and care of trees a priority. Over the last few years, the value and importance of trees has become increasingly clear. Cities and towns across the globe are facing issues with air quality, water resources, personal health and well-being, and the energy use. Millbrook has taken steps to create a brighter, greener future. We're excited to celebrate your commitment to the people and trees of Millbrook. Thank you again for your efforts. And they sent us a bumper sticker that said 31 years, because 31 consecutive years of being a tree city.
31 years, okay. Nice.
Next one, there'll be an Arbor Day ceremony with tree planting at Village Hall on April 28th at proposed time of 10 a.m. I'm trying to nail that down with Ellen Drive Elementary School, because that's the same day as Grandparents' Day. Usually we end up having a whole slew of first, second, and third graders, or first and second grade, whatever, coming and joining us for the ceremony, and I'm hoping that the fact Grandparents' Day is on the same day is not going to interfere, but we can play with
Grandparents
it.
can bring them.
Yeah, I'm
over.
up for it. I'm
Just
saying.
around the corner.
Yeah, but I put.
Did you notify the principal so he knows?
I notified the principal
Okay,
the
fine.
day before yesterday, and he said, please call me back, and I haven't gotten a phone call. So
Okay.
that's why the time is still somewhat nebulous. In terms of the tree planting itself, I want to make a motion that we award the bid to be able to plant the tree to Deep Roots Direct, which has put in a bid for planting the tree for $500. That's planting and tree.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All okay.
All's in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right.
Good deal. And the tree's going to go right there to the left of the village hall entrance, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be a swamp white oak. Okay. Which Dennis Gendron, who's the owner of the Deep Roots Direct, has specifically said that would be the best tree suited for that. And what we'll hope will happen is that I'm in communication with the Boy Scout committee, and what I'd like to do after talking with them is, once this ceremony is done for Arbor Day, I'd like to use that same tree to be able to do a memorial plaque plaque in front of it for Ed Olson,
That'd be nice.
who is our, scoutmaster that passed away. And in order to be able to do that, I just would need permission from the board, of course, to be able to place the memorial. I wanted to bring that up. The person I spoke to from the scout committee indicated that they had enough funds left in their account that they could pay for the memorial itself.
Oh, nice. All right, very good.
It wouldn't be coming from taxes.
And you'll check with his widow as well to make sure.
Yes, I'm going to check with Lori.
Great. Okay.
Other things, I attended a NRI meeting on March 27th and another one this morning. The meeting focused on maps that would be created for the village by Sean Carroll at Cornell Cooperative Extension. The maps we're considering at the moment for the NRI project are physical maps showing streams, aquifers, floodplains, geology and soils, and drinking water resources. These maps would be based on the most recent Hudsonia maps, and those meetings are ongoing for the rest of the year.
So NRI is the Natural Resources Inventory.
Yes.
That we are in cahoots with the town of Washington as well as Clinton, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we're doing, so that grant's proceeding at no cost to us, and hopefully by the end of the year, we're gonna have the NRI report, and that will allow us to be able to use the report itself to then put in for climate smart communities as fulfilling a major thing that had to get done on the list.
Good.
Okay, and finally, I attended the monthly CAC meeting on Wednesday, April 5th at the town hall, and I have a list of the topics that were addressed. If anyone has any questions.
Any relevant to the village?
Not really.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yep.
And finally, I've got a shade tree meeting that I'm scheduling for next week for hopefully Tuesday at 9:30 at Village Hall, and we're going to be discussing a few things. Possibly a member, a village resident has sent a letter saying that they are interested in joining the shade tree committees. We'll be discussing that. We'll be discussing Arbor Day activities, and also discussing being able to appoint someone for being able to plant trees. And the last motion I have is that we've done research for and gotten 3 bids, one from Local Gardens, one from Adams Acre Farms, and one person who declined to bid on the rest of the trees you want to plant, but the bids came in, we got verbal bids, and the lowest bid came from Adam Acre Farms, which said we could get 3 2 to 2.5 inch caliber trees at $450, with a 60% of that amount being charged for a planting fee with no sales tax attached. So essentially it's going to come down to approximately $700 to $750 a tree to plant 3 trees through Adams Acre Farms.
Wow, that's good news.
So I'd like to make a motion that we give Adams Acre Farms the bid to be able to go ahead and do that, hopefully no later than May.
Wait, so are you making a motion here at this meeting now?
Yes, so we can get it.
So this is for 3 trees?
The 3 trees.
The 3 trees being where?
One would be going by Scott and Debbie's house right on the corner. The one would be going at
Maple.
On the corner of Maple. The other one would be across the street at Ann's house on the other side.
Okay.
And Dorothy Stills had sent a letter to the board asking if she could have a tree planting replacement that was taken out, and that would make the 3rd tree that we'd be planting.
Okay. So the 3 trees times $700 is $2,100.
Basically, yes.
And that's in the budget.
Yes, that will. Well, we have a village replanting fund of $7,600 right now that we can take that from. So
without using the budget.
Without using the
budget.
Okay, fine. So we can take it out of that.
Okay.
And that pretty well takes care of it, except for the fact that we do have one other issue we're bringing up at the Shade Tree Commission, and that's going to be having to do with, future plantings, but would have to do with what trees we
All right,
plant.
let's stay with the motion for the approval of the 3 trees that you identified and where the locations are.
Okay.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, good. Start digging them.
Okay, so that's,
All right, thanks. All right.
that's pretty much it.
Okay, good. Peter?
Nothing.
All right. Pat?
Nothing.
All right. Pat, we still want you to start linking with Mike.
Yeah, I got his number.
All right, good. The story is this. We're having this back and forth with Dutchess County Planning. I need to be in it because I was part of the initial application process. Once I get that blessed, then I want you guys to start, pick up the ball there. But I want you, once they start pouring concrete, I want you to be there.
Yeah.
So I told Mike that as soon as I can get out of it, I want you and him to hook up. All right?
Sounds good.
All right, good. Anything else in the general meeting before we go to the executive session? Before we go to the executive session, we're talking about a new hire to the police force. And there was a question raised by a trustee that regarding the fact that this person is one of the 2 members of the Integram company that we have this contract with. And Ian had responded with his position that he doesn't think that's a conflict of interest as long as he declares up front that there is that second relationship.
Yeah, as long as this person is not in a position where he's got authority to negotiate the contract with Integrum, is that the
Yes.
Then it generally isn't a conflict. I don't know whether the contract with Integrum was to provide training.
Training, that's right.
That's right. Is that an ongoing contract? Is it still in effect?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're still using them. In fact, this would allow him to conduct the training in-house, not necessarily as a contractor of Integram anymore, because he's certified as a DCGS instructor.
Provide it for the village.
Right. It would be at his hourly rate as a police officer.
All right, so is the board okay with that? That's one of the issues we wanted to address while Ian was here. I want to make sure there's nothing that anyone wants to question about that. Okay, that's not the total of why I want to go to executive session. So basically then, we don't need you anymore, Ian, you're good.
Okay.
And I want to go to executive session, so what do we do for that? I want Officer Witt and the trustees, can we just go there, find a table somewhere?
Well, you need to.
Oh, I need to make a motion
You need to make a motion, second, and go to go.
All right, so we're going to make a motion to go to executive session, a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? All right, let's find a table in the back corner
Okay,
here.
and then I would just say, make sure you come out.
And I'll make a motion that we go back into the general session. Can we get a second?
Okay.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, so we agreed to extend an offer of hire to Matt Cohane to become a police officer with a 1-year qualification period.
Correct.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else we need to do, Sarah?
Who made the motion?
I made a motion.
And who seconded?
I second.
Okay. And you said 1 year?
For a 1-year. Is it called probation or qualification?
Qualification.
Qualification.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Our next board meeting is going to be on April 26th. It'll be a very short meeting, 6 o'clock. I'll see if it's available. If not, I'm going to do it in the village hall. Assume it's here unless you're different from me. With that, I'll make a motion. We adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you all. Did a lot of good work. Appreciate the time.
By the way, on the shade tree, at the shade tree meeting next week, I'm gonna bring up the receipt thing about
Have a good evening. This is the meeting we should have pizza.
Jackie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.